see Christ in me.
I esteem all my bros to be better than me. Truth be told, truth be told, this is what we must do to avoid envy. Truth be told, truth be told, and blacks and Hispanics are family. Truth be told, truth be told, I just pray you see Christ when you see me. Truth be told, truth be told.
Shalom, Most High in Christ bless. You are now tuning into Truth Be Told DC, broadcasting live. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear the truth according to the Bible, hosted by IUIC DC. For music, clothing, and instruments of learning, visit originalroyalty.com and israelunite.org. Shalom.
Shalom, fam. Welcome back to Truth Be Told DC. I'm Officer Matthew to my right.
Officer Micah.
To my left.
Officer Daniel.
Officer Mendel.
So today's topic is God is against interracial marriage. So we're going to go ahead. Before we get that, let's open up with John 8:32. But before you get that, make sure you got your Bible, your pens, and notepads. And just a little heads up, you know, it's going to be a rough one for you sisters on this one. So I'm just giving you a heads up. So go ahead and get that.
The book of John, chapter 8, verse 32. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
So the truth is that you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans make up the 12 tribes of Israel, and you ought to repent in these last days. So, yeah, so this is interracial marriage, so this is a very touchy topic. So we're going to get right into it. This isn't mean to offend, but we got to bring things out. We're going to bring out some statistics and observations to back up exactly what that actually has transpired in the Bible into our times today as we see the results of these curses on our people. So go ahead and open up with that.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1. Mm-hmm. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I commanded thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
So that was the stipulation. If we kept the commandments, we would be above all nations. We wouldn't be in the lower state that we are currently in. So let's get to the flip side, the actual conditions which we're in today.
Verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So that's where we are today. Get a couple of these curses.
Verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
We know that happened to the children of Israel, which is us.
And thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long. And there shall be no might in thine hand.
We had no might in our hand to get our children back once they were delivered. So go ahead and go to 68.
Verse 68.
Uh-huh.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
So we were going on a bondage again, this time with ships.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
And we haven't seen Jerusalem since it's our homeland.
And there you shall be sold unto your enemies.
So here in America, we were sold unto our enemies.
For bondmen,
slave men,
and bondwomen,
slave women.
And no man shall buy you.
And no man shall buy us. Get verse 48 real quick before we get to the next one.
I actually got that a little
bit. Oh, you got that? Okay. Let's, all right, move on. All right, so those are the curses that are upon our people. And this paints many clues as to why we're in the condition that we're in. Go ahead and get that Deuteronomy 7.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 1. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and have cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou.
So we're supposed to cast them out, not go in there and dwell amongst them and with them and commingle with them. We were supposed to cast them out.
And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them.
And they were to be utterly destroyed. That's what the commandment of the Lord was.
Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them.
Right.
Neither shalt thou make marriages with them.
So it was not lawful for us to make marriages with the other nations.
Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son.
Right.
For they will turn away thy son from following me.
So that was the whole point, because the Most High was only dealing with the Israelites. So if we went and dealt with the other nations, we would be turned from following the Most High.
That they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly.
Right. Go down and find.
I want to do something real quick before you go. But said be turned to other gods. Just hold that and go to Psalms 96 and 5, because this right here, this one scripture. I mean, these scriptures right here make it clear that God is only dealing with the Israelites, and they're set apart from everybody else.
Right, because it wouldn't be no point in putting that in there if it was all nations. Yeah, you know.
He's making it clear he's not the God of all nations right here. He said other gods. They have their own gods.
The book of Psalms, chapter 96, verse 5. For all the gods of the nations are idols, but the Lord made the heavens.
And we bring that scripture out a lot, but if you look at it, it's true, because if you look at Islam, they got a rock for a god. The Chinese or Moab, they got Buddha.
Right.
And then you got the Indians, they got Christian. And you could just go on down the line. Everybody has their own God.
Right.
And even here in America, they have Caesar Borgia, the false image of Christ.
And that cross.
That cross. Forgot about that.
Yeah. Just go ahead and get that, Nehemiah.
The book of Nehemiah, chapter 13, verse 23. In those days also saw I Jews that had married wives of Ashdod, of Ammon, and of Moab.
So they were marrying other nations. Let's see what happens. See if we're going to say, good job, brother. Let's see.
And the children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Jews' language, but according to the language of each people.
Right.
And I contended with them, and cursed them.
No, he blessed them.
And cursed them. And smote certain of them.
He even slapped some brothers up.
And plucked off their hair, and made them swear by God, saying, Ye shall not give your daughters unto their sons, nor take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves.
So what's the example he goes to?
Did not Solomon, king of Israel, sin by these things?
He did what?
Did not Solomon, king of Israel, sin by these things?
Right.
Yet among many nations was there no king like him.
So there was no king like King Solomon, and he went off dealing with the other nations. Read.
Who was beloved of his God. And God made him king over all Israel. Nevertheless, even him did outlandish woman cause to sin.
Did what?
Did outlandish woman cause to sin.
And he got into witchcraft and all kinds of stuff. So that's just letting you know that this thing has been from the beginning to the end.
And we just read the law. So the law that he broke was the one that we just read in Deuteronomy. And what did Nehemiah call it? A sin.
Exactly.
Shall we then hearken unto you to do all this great evil? To transgress against our God in marrying strange wives?
And doing what?
To transgress against our God in marrying strange wives.
There you go. We're not supposed to deal with the other nations. And when you look around the world, you don't really see too much intermingling on mass scales other than here in America and Europe. Right.
Babylon the Great, just like the original Babylon. Everybody together in one pot.
And the cause is nothing but confusion.
When he mentioned that we shouldn't pretty much have interracial marriages, when you read the verse 6, he said because we are a holy people, meaning severed. He separated us clearly because we were never meant to be equal or intermingled with him.
Right, that's clear. So go ahead and get that in Ezra.
The book of Ezra, chapter 10, verse 10. And Ezra the priest stood up and said unto them, You have transgressed and have taken strange wives to increase the trespass of Israel.
To do what?
To increase the trespass of Israel.
There you go. You just add more sin to the nation.
Now therefore make confession unto the Lord God of your fathers, and do his pleasure, and separate yourselves from the people of the land and from the strange wives.
Hold on, you got to do what?
And separate yourselves from the people of the land and from the strange wives.
There you go. So let's go ahead and roll that video. Interracial celebrity.
Yeah, that's what it is. Just a quick clip.
See a lot of that going on and being promoted, man. But let's go with the word, man.
The book of Joshua, chapter 23, verse 12. Else if you do in any wise go back and cleave unto the remnant of these nations, even these that remain among you, and shall make marriages with them, and go in unto them, and they to you, know for certainty that the Lord your God will no more drive out any of these nations from before you. But they shall be snares and traps unto you.
There shall be what?
Snares and traps unto you.
Ask Tiger about that.
And scourges in your sides, and thorns in your eyes, until you perish from off this good land,
Right.
which the Lord your God hath given you.
Right. Obviously, that's come to pass because we here in America. Let's go ahead and get that Tobit 4.
The book of Tobit, chapter 4, verse 12.
So this makes it clear right here.
Beware of all whoredom,
It says all whoredom.
my son, and chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers.
Of the what?
Of the seed of thy fathers. And take not a strange woman to wife, which is not of thy father's tribe.
Right.
For we are the children of the prophets.
Right.
Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember, my son, that our fathers from the beginning, even that they all married wives of their own kindred.
Right.
And were blessed in their children, and their seed shall inherit the land.
That's crystal clear. So we got to take a wife of our own people.
The Bible calls it whoredom.
Right. It says
Marrying
beware,
out. Yeah.
meaning look out for that thing. That's danger.
Now therefore, my son, love thy brethren, and despise not in thy heart thy brethren.
And it says despise not in your mind your own people.
Damn.
The sons and daughters of thy people is not taking a wife of them. For in pride is destruction, and much trouble. And in lewdness.
And in what?
In lewdness.
This a lewd act.
Is decay and great want.
It is decay and a lacking a great amount.
For lewdness is the mother of famine.
That's crystal clear, man. That's a lewd act according to the scriptures. We can't do nothing about that. That's what the Bible says.
They said showing hatred for your people.
Yeah.
Too, by doing
And
that.
there was plenty of brothers on there that hate their own people. Like a Chameleon there was doing something. He was giving this little joint about his experience when he ran into Michael Jordan. He wanted to take a picture with Michael Jordan. Told him, man, I don't take pictures with niggas.
Straight up. He told him.
Straight up.
He take pictures with white women.
Brother is.
Hey, look,
Man, this
Michael
brother
Jordan,
trip, man.
But go and stand in line and get them shoes.
Right.
Need that.
Let's go ahead and run that commercial real quick.
All he do is put that.
Picture gold dust in your hair, jewelry everywhere. Feet don't even touch the ground, no. All the streets are paved with gold, you know. Wave your hands to the sky, all praises to the Most High, for giving us the light and raising up the 12 tribes. Wave your hands to the sky, all praises to the Most High, for giving us the light and raising up the 12 tribes. Oh, loudmouth women, effeminate men, men in skirts, women in pants, but Christ gave us all a chance to rule the earth again. Picture this, my friend.
Man, I got to tell you, this stuff right here, salt of the earth, seasoned salt, with that special Himalayan salt ingredient. Ooh, wait, let me tell you something. Listen, from fish to fruit, from salads to soups, this thing right here gonna make it do what it do. I'm sorry, I can't help myself, because like when I just look, watch this. I can't help myself. This stuff right here, ooh. It's got all natural ingredients. It's got a little paprika in it. You know, the garlic powder, the onion powder, little red pepper to give it that spice. This thing right here is something nice. So look, this is what you do. If you want to get your hands on some of this for your kitchen, you need to go to saltoftheearth12.com to go pick up your supply today. Don't wait. Go right now. All right.
Front and center, baby. Product placement.
Yeah, man. Support the troops, man.
Yeah, you got to.
Got to.
And it's a much healthier salt than your regular table salt, because I think if you do your research, Himalayan salt is the purest, best salt in the world. So if you're using your regular seasoned salts and stuff like that, that salt has been processed, heated over 1,200 degrees. It has all types of chemicals and things in it. It's really not good for you. And the doctors tell you that constantly. Stay away from salt. Stay away from salt. But this is in its natural state, the way God had it.
And that's actually sodium chloride, what that is. This is actually real salt. This is salt. That stuff that
And
you
I'm going to tell you,
get
it
on that table
tastes a
salt.
lot better.
It does. It's
I
fantastic.
mean, it's
I put it on
incredible
everything.
difference.
My
It's
water.
Like if you got like a hamburger that's
Gatorade.
processed and you got a 100%
Smoothies.
pure beef hamburger, you can taste the difference between the processed and
make
the
ice with
100%. You know, this salt is the same way. You're going to taste the difference.
Just that simple,
All praises.
Straight on my tongue.
Support the troops.
basically. Go ahead, man. What you doing, man?
All right, the book of Numbers, chapter 25, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab.
They did what?
They began to commit whoredom
You see that? That's why I was called in Tobit. Beware of all
That's
whoredom.
that interracial marriage.
with the daughters of Moab.
That's the Chinese man today.
Moabites.
And they called the people unto the sacrifices of their gods. And the people did eat and bow down to their gods.
We read that in Deuteronomy 7
Right.
too. That was the warning.
That was a whole warning.
Yeah.
And Israel joined himself unto Baal Peor. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. And the Lord said unto Moses, take all the heads of the people and hang them up before the Lord against the sun, that the fierce anger of the Lord may be turned away from Israel. And Moses said unto the judges of Israel, slay ye every one his men that were joined unto Baal Peor. And behold, one of the children of Israel came and brought unto his brethren a Midianitish woman in the sight of Moses, and in the sight of all the congregation of the children of Israel, who were weeping before the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, saw it, he rose up from among the congregation and took a javelin in his hand, and he went after the man of Israel into the tent, and thrust both of them through, the man of Israel and the woman through her belly.
Dang.
So the plague was stayed from the children of Israel.
I think that was a serious charge, man. This brother
Reverse
came
now?
up. Yeah.
And
My
those
bad,
that
Austin.
died in the plague were 24,000.
That's
It's a
a
lot of
lot of
people.
baddies,
Hey,
man.
look, and they, people trying to say it's not a
Man.
sin. He killed 24,000 people.
Right.
Hey, look, man, ain't that serious, man.
Yeah, that's petty.
Got all flavors in Israel.
Be
12
like
tribes,
your
man.
Wesley, that probably was Wesley Snipes back then.
Yeah.
Like,
Love is blind.
Yeah. You're going to be blind from the earth.
now.
The book of Sirach, chapter 26, verse 20. When thou hast gotten a fruitful possession through all the field, sow it with thine own seed.
Do what?
Sow it with thine own seed, trusting in the goodness of thy stock. So thy race,
So that what?
so thy race,
Nah, race ain't in the Bible.
so thy race, which thou leavest shall be magnified, having the confidence of their good descent.
Meaning that your genes going to be intact like they were supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be that pure breed.
Yeah, because you got like different cats out here. You don't see tigers and lions and leopards and all them hopping. You know, they all cats, but they got their own family.
Right.
The only time you see them is when Esau force breeds them.
Exactly.
And then they be dying off. They don't be living.
Yeah, God created separation. It's not meant for
a reason.
everybody to be together.
Yeah, man. It's just that simple, man.
All right, the book of Malachi, chapter 2, verse 11. Judah hath dealt treacherously, and an abomination is committed in Israel and in Jerusalem. For Judah hath profaned the holiness of the Lord which he loved, and he hath married the daughter of a strange god. The Lord will cut off the man that doeth this, the master and the scholar, out of the tabernacles of Jacob.
Right. So it don't matter what your status is. You was getting put to death.
And him that offereth an offering unto the Lord of hosts. And this have you done again, covering the altar of the Lord with tears, with weeping and with crying, out insomuch that he regardeth not the offering any more,
Right. Because we done that thing over and over.
or receiveth it with good will at your hand.
So, we can't keep doing the same thing and coming back, man. We got to take heed to what the scriptures say and do what it says.
Yeah, let's jump on over to 1 Corinthians.
Yeah.
1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 1.
Go ahead.
Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Christ.
And so we got to follow Paul as he followed Christ.
Now I praise you, brethren, that you remember me in all things.
That we got to be mindful of Paul and what he wrote in all things.
And keep the ordinances.
And keep the order.
As I delivered them to you.
And he about to deliver them straight.
But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ. And the head of the woman is the man.
The what?
The head of the woman is the man.
So the pecking order is Christ, man, woman.
And the head of Christ is God.
And God is at the top of that thing, showing you that God and Christ are not one. And then 2, men and women are not equal. That's what the Bible says.
Yeah, so what this going into is the fact that by these brothers, in slavery being effeminized, then you got these masculine women. A lot of these brothers don't want to deal with it, especially when they become successful.
Right.
So they go to other nations because they don't want to hear that big, loud mouth, the independent woman that America has created.
It's not the color, the race issue. I just think that the intimidation factor that he's talking about and that you're talking about is money. And it's always an issue. If your mate makes more, I would be intimidated if my wife made more than me.
Why?
But
is that
that's not my fault. I'm not saying that I have a reason why. I'm just saying that it's an issue. But I'm also saying that I don't think that white men really want to date black women as much as black women want to date white men either. And I love my white wife right here.
Your white wife? Talking about how hard it is for most black women to find a good black man. And I want to ask you guys something. When you just saw that montage of couples there, interracial couples, black men with white women, what were your reactions? Anybody have any gut reactions? Come on, straight from the gut here. Straight from the gut. Come on, stand up. Purely financial.
Purely financial, you think. Who else? Back here. What do you say? What do you say? Come on, come on, come on, come on. Get my exercise today. There you go.
Every time someone's in the spotlight, like a black man, you always see him with a white woman. That's the main thing. You don't see him with a black. It's like, and some of them make comments, no, I don't like black women. I prefer white women. And it doesn't make no sense. It really does. These are the so-called good black men.
Yeah, but yet I don't think it matters whether you're white or black. I don't think it matters as long as you're in love.
Doesn't bother you. Doesn't bother you either?
Doesn't bother me at all. I'm going to date who I want to date, whether she's black, white, Spanish, Mexican.
What do you ladies think?
You know what, Carol? I was just going to say, I don't have the what happens to be quite often the reaction most sisters have, and that is they're a little bit angry when they see black men who are successful with white women. I don't go there. I don't have that emotion. I'll tell you what emotion I do have, though. I'm just sitting here this evening, and I'm looking at this panel, and I'm thinking, here is a row, you included, of sharp sisters. Why are we spending some of the best years of our lives by ourselves?
All single.
By choice for me.
By choice. What do you say?
I'll tell you, quite frankly, it's easier to meet a white woman or sometimes Hispanic women because black women have so much attitude when you're out or you're walking.
Energy. Yeah, what you mean by that? Look, a whole row. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
We hear that all the time. Black women have too much attitude. That's just me. That's just how I am. I know plenty white girls with attitude. Let me tell you. That has nothing to do with it. It's about a cultural expression. Just because I roll my head or roll my eyes, whatever, that's confidence. I have confidence in myself, and I'd like to be heard, and I'm going to let you know where I stand. That has nothing to do with it. So that's a cop-out, because if you're too intimidated by me doing this or doing whatever like that, then that's on you. You need to check yourself. Have the confidence enough to step to me regardless.
If you're a confident person, if you're a successful person, why should you have to go through all the hassle? You know, you could date other people. There's no need for that.
Wait a minute.
Okay, go through the hassle. It's not it should not be a hassle. I mean, we're here for one another, and quite frankly, I think that a lot of black men have bought into what the system tells us about black women. I think that a lot of black men hold us responsible for being what we've had to be throughout the years, with not having you there as father figures and having to be the mother and the father to our children. And a lot of the other issues that go along that make us the strong black women that we are. And you guys use that against us, and it's not fair.
And why should we apologize for being strong black women?
What the problem is, my brother, you just can't handle it. That's it. You can't handle it.
I wanted to say something. Excuse me. I wanted to say something to the young man that stood up and made a comment right here behind him. Yes. That made a comment that was really, really key. In interracial dating, you will see a black man with a white woman. However, what did you say? You very rarely see a white man wanting to date a black woman. What's wrong with this picture?
But she gets dates.
I'm from the
Midwest. She gets dates.
You said not dates. No, I'm saying. Oh, wait a minute. How many white men in here would want to date a sister? How many white men in here could deal with that attitude that this brother was talking about? This energy, this power, however you want to call it.
She disagrees.
I disagree because I'm a multi-dimensional person, and I've dated outside of my race, and it's been, I'd say, a good 6-7 years since I've dated a brother, and I've been dating outside my race, and they've been dating me.
Is that because it's hard for you to find someone, or is why?
It's just our compatibility.
Have you had long-term relationships with these men? Or were you something to be desired, something to say,
no, I broke it off with them.
Maybe I should try this.
No, I broke it off with them.
You know, because a lot of times, in my experience now, you know.
But you said you didn't date
in my experience, I did tell, what's her name in the back?
Okay.
Patricia in the back, that when I was about 17, 18 years old, I did date a white boy. Okay? I hate to say that. I'm sorry I said that. But anyway, we're being frank, okay? I did date a white boy, man, guy. But, and through that experience, no, seriously, through that experience was not a pleasurable experience to me, and that wasn't what tainted me. It was just, you know, that attitude, that sapphireness, that energy, my tradition, my culture. I'm conditioned to know more about their culture than they are conditioned to know about my culture. Take the time to get to know me and my culture and my traditions. Do they want to do that? I don't think so.
So we're going to get into this. So we're going to get this, let's get the Willie Lynch letters, because this is where it all started. And that's why, and what we're getting into is the main reason why some of these brothers, when they get successful, they decide they want to go in another direction.
And get the snow bunny.
Or whatever.
Because they're a lot easier to deal with.
Time to go skiing.
I mean, it's just the truth, and we're going to pull out some stats to prove that.
Right. We got some more books, too, here for you.
The Willie Lynch letter and the making of a slave. The breaking process of the woman. Take the female and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desires willingly. Test her in every way, because she is the most important factor for good economics. If she shows any signs of resistance in submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her to extract the last bit of bitch out of her. Take care not to kill her, for in doing so, you spoil good economics. When in complete submission, she will train her offspring in the early years to submit to labor when they become of age. Understanding is the best thing. Therefore, we shall go deeper into this area of the subject matter concerning what we have produced here in the breaking of the female nigger.
Go ahead.
We have reversed the relationships.
What did he do? He did what?
We have reversed the relationships. In her natural, uncivilized state, she would have a strong dependency on the uncivilized nigger male. And she would have a limited protective dependency toward her independent male offspring, and would raise female offspring to be dependent like her. Nature had provided for this type of balance. We reverse nature by burning and pulling one civilized nigger apart and bullwhipping the other to the point of death, all in her presence. By her being left alone, unprotected, with the male image destroyed.
The male image is definitely destroyed.
Right. You see brothers with their pants around their ankles.
Yeah, they got blue hair, all types of wild stuff. Go ahead.
The ordeal caused her to move from her psychological dependent state to a frozen independent state. In this frozen psychological state of independence, she will raise her male and female offspring in reversed roles. For fear of the young man's life, she will psychologically train him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong. Because she has become physiologically independent, she will train her female offspring to be psychological independent as well. What have you got? You've got the nigger woman out front and the nigger man behind and scared.
That's what you got today.
Right.
This is a perfect situation for sound sleep and economics.
He said what?
This is a perfect situation for sound sleep and economics.
And I just want to say one thing too. So when we're talking about the race, you are who your father is. So if your father is Chinese, then you're Chinese. If your father's an Edomite or whatever, then you're an Edomite, and so on and so on. So, but we're talking about the black woman and how we got the black woman we got today. It's created in a lab. We about to get some more on that. Now, hold on, we got to get some more on that. We gonna touch because what's the modern twist on the Willie Lynch letters? The feminist movement. Go ahead and read this out of the book entitled Negro Wars. Go ahead and read right here. Read that, then jump down. We're gonna get some observations, man. Because American Woman is created in a lab. It's
straight
reality
up.
TV, the Willie Lynch letters, the whole compilation.
And the CIA with the feminist movement headed by Gloria Steinem. Go ahead and break that out.
Feminism is a completely dysfunctional religion, and that it seeks to remove both men and women from their default functional roles,
which we just read in the letters of Willie Lynch
in nature,
in the scriptures.
The man being the leader and the woman being the follower and submitting to him.
And we just read that order out of the scriptures, but we read that role reversal in the letters of Willie Lynch. Now we're seeing it the same play under the feminist movement.
Women find themselves the happiest performing their traditional family roles, as opposed to working and chasing a career.
Jump down to the highlighted one with the star.
There are numerous studies currently available which clearly show that women are less happy today than they were 30 to 40 years ago.
And you can see a lot of sisters got these nasty attitudes on them today.
I'm in the bed. I don't need no man. Jesus is my husband. Nigga. And all that. But they got that cat and that thing up in the dresser drawer.
Right. The lightsaber. Go ahead and read that verse. Let's see the fruits of this madness.
If anybody desires to view the fruits of feminism in their full glory, look no further than the black community.
That's all you got to do is look. Just look at our neighborhoods.
Yeah, we're going to keep it moving.
The black community, because of its woman fully taking on board this philosophy, has become a complete basket case. Western and westernized black women, for the most part, look masculine.
Look what?
Look masculine.
You look outside, you see bull daggers everywhere now.
Women wearing pants, all that stuff.
And behave more masculine than black men. Black women deliberately go out of their way to emasculate and feminize black men in order to continue retaining their positions as leaders of the black community. Black women on the whole level have become extremely violent and aggressive. Black women, for the most part, have completely lost their nurturing instincts. They hate children, and more time when they have children, it is simply to use them as a tool in order to claim state welfare and child support.
There you go. That's their new husband, their new father.
The new husband is Esau and his government system.
Right.
Getting that
That's why they say, I'm an independent woman.
I'm an independent, but Esau going to give me a check once a month.
Right.
So let's go ahead and get the prophecy of that, because it's actually, what we're reading is prophetic. Go ahead and get that Jeremiah 31.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 31, verse 22. How long will that go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man.
The woman is out in front of the man. The Most High created that, because who sent Esau against us?
The Most High.
The Most High.
Because
so he created
I
that thing. That's why we living in hell right now with a lot of this madness. With our kids doing all types of wild stuff, we're gonna get that too.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 3, verse 12. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them.
Women ruling over the kids. A single parent house, Now the kids, they don't have a man in there.
Right.
Now, granted, the man is out of order. We're not excusing that at all. But go ahead.
O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths.
So the women are ruling over these kids. There's no brothers in the house.
Right.
A lot of times, the women, they doing whatever they got to do to try to make it. And then, between their big mouth and the effeminate man, they don't stick around. So they end up raising a kid, and then the cycle just continues.
Right. And then you got it's the kids, and they're terrorizing the neighborhood.
Exactly. So let's get Proverbs. Because this is what we see a lot of times when we at camp.
Oh, you don't even need to be at camp. You just turn on the TV or look out your window.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying this scripture got to come out a lot.
And in the church.
Yeah, in the church.
You definitely see this in the church.
Go ahead.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 7, verse 10. And behold, there met him a woman with the attire of an harlot.
And that's a problem you see, too, because a lot of sisters, the way they dress. I mean, when I was younger, man, you had to go down 14th Street where the prostitutes was to see the sisters dressed the way they dress today on the street.
Yeah, it's commonplace now. You
I'm not exaggerating.
Spots to see the way they dress.
When I was growing up, we had to, when I turned 16, we couldn't wait for somebody to get a license so we could drive down there and look at the hoes. Now, you just go outside. Hey, man, I'm telling you the truth, man.
That's the way it is, though. It's crazy.
There met him a woman with the attire of an harlot and subtle of heart.
Okay.
She is loud and stubborn. Her feet abide not in her house.
Now you see that a lot of times. You just hang out on the street. You hear all this mouth. They ain't in the house doing their business according to the Most High. What they supposed to do.
Now she is without.
Now she without. She ain't got no man.
Now in the streets.
But she out on the corner.
And lieth in wait at every corner.
She waiting at the corner. She on YouTube. They twerking. They doing all types of wild, wretched stuff. And this is not talking about all sisters, of course.
Right.
And we're going to get on the men, too, so don't get it twisted. Go ahead.
Keep going.
No, that's it. That's it right there. We're going to stop right there. All right, so let's go ahead and get this video right here. Brothers have the worst options.
What's going on, everyone? It's your boy, Tommy Sotomayor. Need a haircut pretty bad, and I'm having a hard time shooting myself holding this camera in front of me. But I had to stop for a second and do a video because, well, people always ask me a lot of questions about my stances. If you could do me a favor, I'd like for you to take a look at a photo right here. The photo that you are looking at is of what I call the BT 1000. The world's worst stewards, the worst stewards of children. The hair-hatted hooligan, the one that'll go out and act a motherfucking fool again. Who you are looking at is the modern-day American black woman. Now, can I say that every black woman is like this? Not at all. But what I can tell you is why I think these are the worst stewards of children on planet Earth. I don't think that there are any race of men who have it as worse as black men do. Number one, our women are very manly. Number two, they're very disrespectful. Number three, they don't consider anyone else's feelings but their own. And number four, there are very few of them who have children because they want to nourish the children and put the children in better positions than they were when they were growing up. I always thought the purpose of having children were to give them a better life than the one you had, for each generation to progress. But apparently with black women, it's just become a bodily function. It's just literally you slept with her, she got pregnant, and she's gonna have it. She doesn't really want it, doesn't really know how to take care of it, but it doesn't matter because the government has allowed her to become what she is now. Government-sponsored terrorist. As you're taking a look at this photo, you should be noticing that they're doing the one thing that they all do. Apparently it's some kind of mating call from these hair-hatted hooligans. It's called twerking. These women got in a nasty pool of stagnant stank water, a lake or a pond or something, took their children, and one of them actually has the child face down to where it's breathing in that disgusting, deplorable water. Now, many of you will talk crap about me and say, why do you bring up the negative? What should I bring up? Imagine if I had a photo of me with an infant face down in the water. Do you think they talk about any of the positive things I've done? As a matter of fact, I've done several positive things, but I don't see anyone who dislikes me making any videos talking about those. So it should be fair that I look at me, as the funeral home. You know, everybody has a job, right? Well, look at me as the black man and black female mortician. I'm not here to say nice stuff about people I don't know, but I am here to call out situations that I think are a problem. And if you guys don't think it is a problem with the type of parenting that we have in the black community, then shame on you. The reason that you have all these Freddie Grays and I can't remember his name, and Alton Sterling, and the reason we have all these names you can think of, there's one through line through every one of them. No fathers. See, these women are supposed to be great people. But how can we look at our women as queens when they walk around with hair that looks like any flavor of push-up pop? When their attitudes are so ridiculous that people are afraid to address them or tell them that they're doing something wrong. Black women today, as I've told you several times, are the world's retarded children. They're the retarded children in the class. And I explain, if you guys have ever been in a school and they had retarded children in the class, what's the one thing you knew about the retarded kids? That's right. See, the retarded kids, you couldn't say anything to them because the teachers would tell you they don't know any better. And since the teachers felt they didn't know any better, they let them do whatever they wanted. Right now, people let black women do whatever they want because people are afraid to say anything to them. You'll get in trouble if you call out the behavior of black women. How many times have you been out in a public restaurant and noticed that the loudest people at that public restaurant were the women, the black ones? How many of you have ever been to a public pool or anything in the public and noticed that the loudest person there, the people ruining everyone else's time, are black women? How many TV shows have you noticed that black women give you the worst service ever? Because most people are afraid to go to places where they have a black waitress. The waitress looks like she doesn't want to be there. She gives you the worst service you'll ever get. I'm not making this up. The stats prove this. The stats also prove that black women are indeed the worst stewards of children because out of single-parent households, guess what you have? The most crime and the poorest of communities. Yet these black women who live in places like Chicago, who claim they care about their children, are continuing to have children in these piss-poor environments where violence is running rampant. If you really care about your kids, black women, the first thing you do is...
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be the first one to tell you, the brother's a coon, but he was putting out a lot of truth.
Yeah, but the brother, he know, he dealing with what he know, you know what I mean? So we ain't going to fry the brother, but what he was saying was spot on, though.
Yeah, he was bringing it out.
And that's not all black women, but that's a good portion of our sisters out there that fit that mold that he was bringing out.
Yeah, he was spitting out some facts. But let's get what happened to us, because we brought out the Willie Lynch, and it's let's get Deuteronomy 28 and 48.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee.
And we already read what the enemies did. They emasculated they made the women masculine and effeminized the men. Go ahead.
In hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things.
That's your education, religion.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he hath destroyed thee.
Because he destroyed the black man and the black women. And that's why there's so much chaos. Like I said, we start out with the sisters. We're going to get on the brothers too.
Right.
We're going to get this last script right here. This where we at? Deuteronomy 22 and 5. Because the feminists brought in what? The pants.
And lesbianism.
That's what they brought in. Because women didn't wear pants before.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22, verse 5. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man. Neither shall a man put on a woman's garment.
Why? Because there's a spirit attached to those clothing. If the woman to tell you, I wear the pants in the family, she's telling you she's running things.
Right.
If a guy's standing out with a dress, is he going to be masculine or feminine? That's just real simple right there.
Right.
So it's obviously a spirit attached to the clothing.
For all that do so are abomination unto the Lord thy God.
And you're an abomination to the Most High. to top it all.
That's a rough hit, man. And you seeing that these young men out here, that brothers is wearing rompers now.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Rompers, leggings.
Yeah, our brothers is way off.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 22. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands.
So the women got to learn how to be submissive. Now, this is not talking about being submissive to a brother that's sitting on the couch playing PlayStation and being a nigga. We're not talking about that. This is talking about a man that's keeping the commandments, and we're going to get on that a little bit later on. Go ahead.
As unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body.
So we got to get back in order, because that's the biggest problem that we have. And that's really, to tell you the truth, one of the biggest problems why women, the black sister, can't find a man is because they don't want to submit, because they've been trained to be on top. That's why we brought all that out.
And also, like you said, you got a lot of weak brothers out here that don't even want to take the charge.
Yeah, it is.
So
a lot of weak
brothers.
brothers.
A vicious cycle.
So sisters, we understand y'all don't have a lot of options. That's why we up here. Because, you go to us, Israel United in Christ, we building men. We got to rebuild our men. Go ahead.
Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything.
All right.
It says in all things right there.
All right, we're going to keep it moving because we got to roll. Sirach 25.
The book of Sirach, chapter 25, verse 16. If I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman. The wickedness of a woman changeth her face, and darkeneth her countenance like sackcloth.
So this is, more proof that the women got to get in
evil
order.
sisters.
Evil sisters, yeah, because a lot of, I hate to tell you this, but a lot of times these brothers don't want to be around because they just can't deal with it. That's why they go over. If you look at the other nations and how their women act, it's way different. It's apparent. Go ahead.
Her husband shall sit among his neighbors, and when he heareth it, shall sigh bitterly.
When he hear you calling, like, Donnell, you be like, oh, damn.
Or the phone ring. That brother
phone ring. Oh, man. Damn, this.
That brother,
I don't even want to say.
That brother stopped at about 15 grocery stores on his way home from work.
Go ahead.
All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her.
And that portion is death.
As the climbing up a sandy way is to the feet of the aged, so
Damn. Go ahead, hit that from the top again. That joint right there is bringing wood.
As the climbing up a sandy way is to the feet of the aged, so is a wife full of words to a quiet man.
Damn, that brother is getting fried.
Yeah,
that's what that's telling you.
That's telling you that's rough right there. Sisters got to learn how to deal with their man.
It's like running up some sand dunes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Micah. Get 1 Corinthians 13.
All right.
Now it's time to get on the man.
Yeah, we got to get on the brothers. Like I
Time to
said,
get on
we're
the
going to
man.
get on the brothers.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 13,
Verse 11.
Verse 11.
The women at home like, thank goodness.
When I was a child, I spake as a child.
And that's the one problem that we have in our communities, that even though we grow old physically, our mind does not mature.
Yeah, because you got brothers in their 40s and 50s still talking the same madness they was talking
Sagging
in high school.
their pants, just all kinds of garbage.
Shorty fat.
Yeah, 40-something years old.
Ridiculous. Grown
outside the
men.
go-go let house.
Yeah.
When you see it, though, they look up to the youth that's in the community, and they copy that instead of it being the other way around.
Exactly.
Read that again, officer.
1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11. When I was a child, I spake as a child.
So what is he saying? He's saying, when I was young, I spoke as a young man. You say stupid things, you say ignorant things, but that's as a child. That's going to happen. Read on.
I understood as a child.
You understand things as a child. Sometimes you may not fully understand the situation that you may be in. Read.
I thought as a child.
You think as a child. When stuff happens, you act immaturely or emotionally. That's what kids do. Read on.
But when I became a man.
But when you become a man, read.
I put away childish things.
Put away childish things. That's childish conversations, childish actions, habits. We got to be able to put away all these things. Immaturity, especially. Right. We got to be able to put away these things and put our emotions in check. But we're going to see what type of man. Is it talking about just a man because you 40 years old, 30 years old? What does the Bible consider a man? Matter of fact, get Proverbs 26 first. So I don't want to skip it.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 26, verse 13.
Because this is what we have in our communities. Read.
The slothful man.
We got lazy men in our communities. Read.
Saith, There's a lion in the way.
Make excuses for everything. They have no ambition, no drive, nothing.
The brother said there's a lion in the way.
Right. He in the middle of D.C. Read on.
A lion is in the streets.
That's a lion in the streets. I can't do X, Y, and Z. It's always an excuse. Read.
As the door turneth upon his hinges.
So as a door turns on his hinge, what is the brother doing?
So doth the slothful upon his bed.
He just flipping on the bed like a fish out of water.
It's vicious.
Just lazy as hell. Lazy as hell.
So we both got to get in order, the brother and the sister.
Exactly. Exactly. Because we can't get on the sisters and say they this, that, and they this and that, but we don't give them no options.
Mm-hmm.
If we not walking around conducting ourselves as men of the Lord, how can we get on them?
Exactly.
Read.
The slothful hideth his hand in his bosom.
He refuses to do any work. Read.
It grieveth him.
It does what?
It grieveth him.
It's a burden to him. Read.
To bring it again to his mouth.
That brother that lazy.
Hey, his brothers out there like that though.
Man,
go ahead.
It's sad. Is that it?
The sluggard is wiser in his own conceit.
So a sluggard, a lazy individual, a lazy man is wiser in his own head. Read.
Than 7 men that can render a reason.
Can't nobody tell this man nothing. Brother,
Right.
you gotta get a job, man. According to the scriptures, a man must work to feed himself, man.
I just got brother. Hey man, you get that Ciroc.
My mama take care of me.
You got to get that out, cuz I ain't got to do nothing.
My mama clean up my Hot Wheel track.
What you about to
The book of Sirach, chapter 22, verse 1. A slothful man is compared to a filthy stone.
So a lazy man is compared to a filthy stone. Read.
And everyone will hiss him out to his disgrace.
Nobody, and that goes to show that nobody likes a lazy person.
Right. No matter where he on your job, on your team, no matter where you at.
Lazy as hell. Nobody likes that
get
brother.
Get this brother out of here.
A slothful man is compared to the filth of a dunghill.
Damn.
You a pile of crap, as the scriptures. Read that again.
A slothful man is compared to the filth of a dunghill.
We all know what the scriptures are saying. It's comparing you to a pile of crap. Dookie.
You know what?
Doo-doo.
Right.
Read.
Every man that takes it up will shake his hand.
Every man that tries to help a lazy brother out, you regret it.
Right.
And that's what the scriptures is saying. It's like when you
Shake
touch
your
and poop with bare hands, you're like, damn, man.
Get this off me.
Right. And you know what's crazy is that a pile of mess actually has use because you can use it as fertilizer.
Right. Get 1 Kings.
Just like Officer Reuben said, they some poo butts.
Poo butts, exactly. Shout out to Officer Reuben. Get 1 Kings 2.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 2, verse 2.
What must you do to be considered a man according to the Most High? Read.
I go all the way of the earth. Be thou strong, therefore, and show thyself a man.
Show yourself a man. Read.
And keep the charge of the Lord thy God.
Read.
To walk in his ways, to keep his statutes.
To do what?
To keep his statutes.
Read.
And his commandments.
We must be keeping the commandments of the Most High God to be considered a man on this earth. Age does not determine anything. Read.
And his judgments and his testimonies as it is written in the law of Moses.
As it is written in these laws. We must conduct and do things according to the scriptures. We can't just sit around with our pants sagging on the corner. Like when I was growing up in Northeast DC, when I get up at 7 in the morning to go to the school, it's old heads sitting outside the liquor store. On my way home at 4 o'clock or whatever, it's some same old heads sitting outside the liquor store every single day.
And by that time, they all the way tuned up.
Right,
Exactly. It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous.
The book of 1 Timothy, chapter 3, verse 1.
Let's get some more. Let's get some more characteristics of a man according to the scriptures. Read.
That's right.
This is a true saying. If a man desire the office of a bishop,
meaning leadership, and as a man, you're naturally a leader, regardless whether you have a position on a job or just in your house. You're a leader naturally. Read.
He desireth a good work.
He desireth a good work. Read.
A bishop then must be blameless.
Must be what?
Blameless.
You can't be called slothful. You can't be called deceitful, lazy, useless, effeminate, soft. Read.
The husband of one wife.
A husband of how many wives?
One wife.
One wife. You can't be jumping in and out of holes like Bugs Bunny. You got to be able to stick to one woman.
So you mean to tell me that brother ain't a man by hitting
nah, that's not.
Skins
you're not a man.
upon skins?
You just adding to the statistics. You gonna catch something. Read on.
Vigilant,
sober, meaning you ain't high all the time. You're not waking up to the wine. You're not a drunkard. Read.
Of good behavior.
Good behavior. Read on.
Given to hospitality.
Hospitality. A lot of brothers not really hospitable. You come up in their house, crap all over the place. They don't offer you anything. Read.
Apt to teach.
Apt to teach, meaning being able to teach promptly. When somebody asks you a question according to the scriptures, you must be able to supply some type of answer.
According to the scriptures.
According to the
According
scriptures.
to the
Read on.
Not giving to wine.
Not giving to much wine.
No striker.
A striker.
Not greedy. A filthy lucre.
Not greedy. A filthy lucre. Meaning you always trying to be deceitful and get extra money out of people. You're a beggar. Read on.
But patient.
Patient.
Not a brawler.
Not a brawler. Not constantly fighting. Not constantly arguing with people. Read.
Not covetous.
Not covetous. You don't want another man's possessions. Read.
One that ruleth well his own house.
One that ruleth well his own house. And in order to do that, we must first be in the house in the first place.
Exactly.
We like to knock people up and just leave. We can't do that according to the scriptures. You got to be a man of the house.
You know what I want to say? This is what I love about IUIC. We build these type of men. You know what I mean? That's what we building here. We follow these scriptures and we build these type of brothers. When brothers come in, they might have been all these things before,
right?
But they get changed up. Same thing with the sisters.
Yep.
So, you know, if you out there and you wondering, like, why can't I find a man or whatever, you got to get your mind right, deprogram yourself, and find yourself a good school, whether it be IUIC or another one that's following these commandments,
right?
And that's going to happen for you.
Right.
Having his own children in subjection with all gravity.
So, hold on. Not leaving them with the mother by herself?
Yeah.
Having his children in subjection with all gravity.
You got to be able to control your kids. In order to do that, you must be there with the kids.
It says having them.
Right. That's first and foremost. Let's get that straight. Get Ecclesiastes. Well, when you're done, get Ecclesiastes 9 and 9.
For if a man know not how to rule his own house,
you don't know how to control your own house. Read.
How shall he take care of the church of God?
Meaning you're useless. Because if you not, if you can't lead or take care of the church of God, what value are you? None.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, verse 9.
How does the Bible tell us to conduct ourselves with our women, with our wives? Read.
Live joyfully with the wife whom thou lovest all the days of thy life.
Is that singular?
Read that again.
Live joyfully with the wife.
With your one woman. Read.
Whom thou lovest all the days of the life of thy vanity.
Read.
Which he hath given thee under the sun.
Because that's a blessing unto you to have a wife in righteousness. Read.
Right.
All the days of thy vanity, for that is thy portion in this life.
That's your portion, meaning that's your blessing. Read.
And in thy labor which thou takest under the sun.
Now get Tobit 6 and 17.
See, we gotta live joyfully with our wives. We can't just be out here. Hey, you do this, do that. We don't roll like that.
Right. She's not a welcome mat.
Right.
And it don't say wives.
Right.
The book of Tobit, chapter 6, verse 17. And the devil shall smell it and flee away, and never come again any more. But when thou shalt come to her, rise up both of you and pray to God, which is merciful.
These are the type of things we must do with our wives. Pray to the Most High. Pray for the things that you want. Pray for the things that you need as a unit, as one flesh. Read.
Which is merciful, who will have pity on you.
He will, because out of three things that the Most High is beautified in, marriage between a man and a woman is the top thing. Read.
And save you. Fear not, for she is appointed unto thee from the beginning.
She was destined to be with. When you married to a woman in righteousness in these scriptures, she was meant to be with you, regardless of how many baby mamas you got, regardless if you was divorced before. But when you come into this truth and you get a sister in righteousness, she was destined to be with you. Remember that. So treat her as such.
And thou shalt preserve her, and she shall go with thee.
Hold up, preserve her or deteriorate her?
And thou shalt preserve her, and she shall go with thee.
And she shall go with. She's gonna be your ride or die. When this affliction comes, you're going to need that pillar of rest at home. Believe that.
Exactly.
Right.
Moreover, I suppose that she shall bear thee children. Now when Tobias had heard these things, he loved her, and his heart was effectually joined to her.
Hold on. When she bare them children, he gave her the Plan B pill.
He loved her, and his heart was effectually joined to her.
Took her to the clinic.
He loved her, and his heart was effectually joined to her.
We got to take responsibility when we had these kids, man.
He wasn't sitting around waiting for child support payments.
Yeah, he wasn't rolling out the door saying later.
Right, that ain't mine.
Right.
Get Colossians 3.
The book of Colossians, chapter 3, verse 18. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands.
So the wife must submit herself to the husband. Read.
As it is fitting to the Lord.
As it is fitting to the Lord. Read on.
Husbands, love your wives, and be not bitter against them.
Don't be bitter to our women. Let's not be condescending to them because we know they're the weaker vessel. Let's not speak down to them. Let's build these sisters up.
Exactly. Be like Al Bundy.
Yeah. Read on.
That's it.
That's it.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 25.
Read.
Husbands, love your wives.
The Bible is saying the same thing over and over because this is something that we do not do. Read.
Even as Christ also loved the church.
And what did Christ do for the church? He fed them, dressed them, healed them, paid their taxes.
Read. So Christ had a job?
Yeah, he sacrificed himself for the church.
And gave himself for it.
Exactly. Read. Is that it?
Yeah.
Psalms 19.
The book of Psalms, chapter 19, verse 7. Psalms 19 and 7. The law of the Lord is perfect.
The law of the Lord is perfect.
Converting the soul.
Converting the soul from a child to a man. Read.
The testimony of the Lord is sure.
It's sure to pass. So all these things that we bringing out must happen and will happen, and it's happening right now. Read.
Making wise the simple.
Because when we was a child, we spoke as a child, but as a man, we speak as men of the Lord.
Right.
We no longer simple minded. So that we understand. Sirach 25 and 1.
The book of Sirach, chapter 25, verse 1. In 3 things I was beautified.
These 3 things the Most High was beautified in. Read.
And stood up beautiful both before God and men.
Come on.
The unity of brethren.
The unity of brethren, the Most High enjoys that. Read.
The love of neighbors.
The love of neighbors between your other brethren outside of your intimate family. Read on.
A man and a wife.
What?
A man and a wife.
15 wives.
A man and a wife.
Okay, read on.
That agree together.
There's nothing greater than a man and a woman in unity, married in a righteousness. There's nothing better than that. Isaiah 4 and 1.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 4, verse 1.
Read.
And in that day.
So this is a future prophecy.
Right.
This is not talking about right now. Read on.
In that day, 7 women shall take hold of 1 man.
So in that day, we will take hold of 7 women to 1 man. Meaning we don't have multiple wives right now. Read on.
Saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel.
Read.
Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach.
I'd be damned if the sisters want to do that in today's time.
Right.
Anyway.
So that's telling you right there that the sister's going to respect the black man in that day.
That's clearly ain't today.
Right.
Read that.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 13, verse 12.
Last scripture.
I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir.
And that's what we got to get back to as men, so that these sisters can get built up.
Right.
And with that, we say shalom.
Shalom.
Most High Christ bless.
Black Christ matters. Black Christ matters. Black Christ matters. Black Christ matters.
They talking about Black Lives Matter, please, but they don't really care nothing about that. Moses black, Solomon black, Christ is black. What about that? Ain't nobody gonna fight that fight. Nope, ain't nobody gonna speak. Y'all let these white folk change your God. Y'all wonder why y'all so weak. Don't keep on crying loud. He's lying down, his hands up, and they shot him. They stripped his clothes, took his robe. Where Christ at? They got him. Got choked out and he couldn't breathe. Police talking about stop resisting. Man, y'all out here killing people, but that's okay, right? Trust the system.
Black Lives Matter.
What about Christ? They killed him too. Same police been killing us now. They killed him then. He's black like you. Don't act like you don't see it. When a white man shoot, y'all paying attention. Black man kill another black man. Y'all in the background talking about I ain't snitching.
But Black Lives Matter.
Shut up. Christ's life matters. When enough of my people repent, that's when this fight might matter. Wake up.
Shalom, Israel. I'm Elder Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. YouTube likes to shut our channels down, as some of you have noticed, ever so often. Subscribing to join IUIC will assure you will always stay connected to our YouTube accounts. We want to do our best to make sure this truth gets out. Please click and join our subscriber YouTube channel called Join IUIC to stay linked to all of our videos. So again, please make sure you subscribe to this Join IUIC channel to get your latest updates from all our YouTube channels. Shalom.